Coming up on this episode of the New Money Habits podcast.
If you do not have the proper context, you can tell me till you're blue in the face. And this kind of proved out when I sat down with the daughter of a couple that I'm coaching. When I first sat down with her, she didn't have an income yet. So everything we were talking about was theoretical. It was hypothetical. And there wasn't any true context in which to apply it. And once she started working and we had the same conversations, but now there was the context of an income, completely changed the game. Hey there, budgeteers. Are you ready to unlock the power of each payday and take control of your finances like a boss? Introducing the Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits. This isn't your average budgeting tool. Oh no. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll harness the unique rhythm of your paychecks to supercharge your financial game. Say goodbye to the confusion of monthly budgets and hello to the clarity of every payday. You'll know exactly when money is coming in and when it's going out, giving you the edge you need to stay on top of your finances. But that's not all. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll easily spot whether you're rocking a surplus or facing a deficit. Armed with this knowledge, you'll make informed decisions that set you up for financial success. It's time to transform your relationship with money and create the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. Get your hands on the Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits today and start making every dollar count. Don't let financial stress hold you back. Create a better plan for your money and seize the power of your pay period and thrive with the Payday Power Planner. Visit newmoneyhabits.com now to grab your free copy and unleash your financial potential. Well, welcome back again, Catherine. I'm so thankful that you keep saying yes to my invitations.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Yeah, I always think that a podcast goes better with two people. The banter is good. The conversation is good. And I'm just grateful and thankful that I've had a number of different willing guests, but also guests who are incredible, including yourself. So like I said, thanks yet again for being kind of a reoccurring voice on the podcast.
I'll be here whenever you want. This is, like I said, this is very fun.
Fantastic. Well, why don't you give our listeners a little bit of an update for anybody who has heard your voice before? What's going on? What's new and exciting?
Yeah, a few things, but I'll let you know. I am finishing up my income accelerator right now, get a new full-time job. I've had a few people go through it. They are wildly excited that it's going out to the public. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, I know that's a weird one, right? For a financial coach podcast. But if you follow me on LinkedIn, Catherine Vanderlaan, you will see me posting about get a new full-time job. It's launching in its not quite beta test. It's after beta testing, but I am going to keep the price low for the first few months. So get in quick and you'll get the low price. After that, it's going right up.
So, all right. That's exciting news.
It is exciting.
Yeah. Well, definitely, listeners, go and check that out and follow Catherine over on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an interesting one for personal financial coaching. You know, it's not where a lot of people hang out, but a good financial coach also knows to partner with local nonprofit organizations, small businesses, because those organizations are looking to help the community, either by providing other programs that we can assist with or bringing us in to talk to employees and that sort of thing. So kind of have to have a presence over there too.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. And then for anybody who might be hearing your voice for the first time, why don't you tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Oh, yeah. All right. So my name is Catherine Vanderlaan. I'm a financial coach. I do a little bit of actually a lot more career coaching than I thought I would, hence the program, and executive coaching. So I go through and I help executives for the most part It is mostly executives and management training right now. So I help them go through change management. I help them figure out their strategic priorities, a lot of different things like that. So
Mhm.
my whole background is in corporate strategy. I got into financial coaching because I love people and I love the people I worked with and went to church with and still do. I know I said that in the past tense. And I figured out, I asked them a bunch of questions. They told me why they weren't feeling so great. And I helped a lot of people get out of debt and make the right decisions in their 401k and with their benefits. I just kind of became known for it. Then somebody came up to me and said, "Do you know financial coaching is a thing? You can do that full time. I know, I see how much you enjoy it. You can do this." So I went from educational technology and publishing to financial coaching and various other forms of coaching as well. I love my life, if you can't gather that.
Yeah, yeah, and you're working within your calling, so it's easy to love that. I want to just comment on the idea of, yes, we are kind of sort of me more so than you, technically a financial coach. You're a financial and executive coach, but I find myself coaching people to in all sorts of other areas of their life, right? And especially when it has to do with career, because career touches finances so closely. So negotiating a raise in salary, or interview prepping for a job interview, and helping to research and hunt out the organization and its benefits and those types of things, because all these things play a part. And what's really interesting to me today is you and I are going to kind of talk about, yes, it's in the realm of finances, but we're going to be talking about how to talk to your kids and teach your kids about money. And so it's almost like parental coaching. And I actually had a client once. I sat down, uh, this was back when I was still meeting people in their homes. And I do that from time to time, but it's been a while. Um, Sat down, started going over the budget, the income, the expenses, and the kids were going a little off the walls. And that doesn't bother me. It's their home. They're comfortable there. Like, absolutely. But the husband turns to me and he's like, "Do you do parent coaching too?" I can. I mean, sure, right? But as parents, obviously, we have a lot on our plates. There's so much to teach our children, and Scripture tells us to train up our children in the way that we want them to go, so that they will never depart from it. Part of that is when you finally get your head wrapped around finances and how to manage money well, it's incredibly important to pass down those teachings to your young ones. So, with that as kind of the precursor, Catherine, what is your approach to talking and teaching kids about money?
Well, that is such a broad question. But I'm going to give you what I base it on first. So I worked at a very, very large organization that published peer-reviewed science. And if you look on my LinkedIn, you can figure out who it is. But I'm not going to say it on the podcast. And so I base my approach based on peer-reviewed research. I really do love it when it's proven among different populations and can be applied to those same populations because it has a high sample size. So my approach is based on the results of that research. It's based on a psychological understanding of child development. I want to make sure that what we're putting down is being picked up, right? And that as parents, we're not banging our heads against the wall trying to teach a kid about money when they just don't have they haven't hit those psychological or numerical milestones to be able to understand it. So I take one of my degrees is in, it's called communication disorders. And it's basically child development and everything that could go wrong. That's how I describe it. And so I really base all of my teaching, when I teach parents, and sometimes it's coaching, which is very different from teaching. But when I teach parents what to do with their kids, I base it on that peer-reviewed science and then the practical experience of seeing it play out in my life, in my friends' lives, in my clients' lives.
Mm.
Does that answer your question?
Well, it gives us a framework by which you're working with. And so I really appreciate understanding that there are going to be different milestones, whether that's age, and it's usually not necessarily age as much as it is. I'm from adult learning. So adult learning is all about context. If you do not have the proper context, you can tell me till you're blue in the face. And this kind of proved out when I sat down with the daughter of a couple that I'm coaching. When I first sat down with her, she didn't have an income yet. So everything we were talking about was theoretical. It was hypothetical. And there wasn't any true context in which to apply it. And once she started working and we had the same conversations, but now there was the context of an income, completely changed the game.
Yeah. That same framework of context needs to be had with the children. So children need a lot of context, sometimes more than adults, because they don't have the experience to fill it in.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have their brains are just not biologically developed yet. So not only is there learning, but there's a limit to what they can understand based on the developmental stage of their brains.
Right.
So I look for different context cues, and some of it is age-based in a way, but mostly it's just it's like around age 8, like I know my daughter is maturing faster than my son, but my son, for whatever reason, and I'm not stereotyping, he understands math a lot more than, a lot faster at a younger age than my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they just happen to fall along stereotypes, but I'm very, very high in technical skills and higher than my brother. So higher in mathematical prowess than my brother, which is fine. So don't think that I'm stereotyping. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not stereotyping kids here. What I am saying is different kids hit some milestones at different ages, and that is A-okay. So with kids, you have to place their milestones and you have to fill in the context.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we start with some of those milestones? Like, what's the first milestone, or one of the first? Hey there, budgeteers. Good news can only be good news if there's bad news. So what's the bad news? The bad news is you and I have a deadly disease called sin, and this disease causes us to rebel and disobey God. See, God is holy, righteous, and just, and he cannot be in the presence of sin. So this horrible disease of ours separates us from the God who created us. And the bad news gets worse. There isn't anything you or I can do to make ourselves right with God. We are dead in our sins and on our way to an eternity separated from God. But that's not God's will for us. See, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. God did what only God could do. He made a way for us to be reconciled to him through Jesus Christ. Jesus came into the world to save sinners like you and me. While we were still sinners, storing up God's anger against us for our rebellion and disobedience, Christ died for us. Jesus took the punishment that you and I deserve and have earned. Jesus is the substitute for your punishment and mine. Now, isn't that some good news? The word gospel means good news. The gospel of Jesus Christ is that you and I broke God's law and Jesus paid the fine. When we place our faith and trust in Jesus, we get to experience God's grace and mercy. Our gratitude should turn us from our rebellious and disobedient sin toward God, seeking after him and his righteousness. When we do, God gives us a new heart and a new mind. Praise God for his goodness, and remember, God loves, humans sin, Jesus saves.
Yeah, so here's I quiz. Okay, I quiz everyone who goes through my financial abundance class. So sorry, you're about to get some quiz answers here.
Okay.
All right. So, Nino, by what age do you think kids can grasp basic money concepts?
Please define basic in this context.
Like trading money for items, buying things.
All right, so I'm a little biased in that I think we can challenge our kids at even younger ages than we normally do. So I would tell you that a 5-year-old could understand the concept of trading money for an item.
Based on peer-reviewed science, it is the age 3.
Okay.
So kids as young as 3 can understand the concept of buying things with money.
Awesome.
Okay.
See, even I wasn't challenging the kids enough.
Right? All right. When do you think children are psychologically capable of saving?
Well, if they now understand it, at 3 they understand that they can trade money for an item, very shortly after that, you could start to help them understand the concept of saving up for that item. So that item is this, you have this, we have to save. So I would say shortly after 3.
Yeah, so age 5.
Okay.
Age 5, they're psychologically capable of saving. Can I tell you a very quick short story?
Of course. It doesn't even have
Okay.
to be short.
It's short. It's short. So one day we're running out to the car, and my son runs to the car. He's 6 years old, super hyperactive, and he runs to the car. He drops off his backpack, and then he bolts back inside. I'm like, all right, where are you going? What's going on here? So I walk to him. I figure he takes forever doing anything. When he's out of sight, he is completely gone mentally. Like, I have no idea what he's doing. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 20 seconds. It could be an hour. And so I chase after him. And I'm just walking and I walk into his room. I open the door and he has shoes off, no pants, and just looks like he's been caught. And I was like, and his name is Fred. And he's a small kid. And I went, Fred, what is going on? And he went, well, it was cold outside. I was wearing shorts.
Mhm.
And he went, I know you said it was cold outside, but I didn't believe you. And I got outside and it was cold. And so I had to turn around and do what you told me to do and put my pants on.
Mm.
And I thought, okay, at least he's learning.
Mm-hmm.
And at least it was funny too. I thought it was pretty funny. Because I was like, that was the last thing I was expecting. It was just like a pantsless child. So anyway, I'm telling you this story because money habits, even for children, cannot become habits until they do them.
Mm.
You know, you can't, and a lot of kids learn through experience, right? You can't do something once and develop a habit. It has to be something that you do over and over and over again. And according to 2 psychological studies, money habits, so one by the University of Cambridge in 2013, money habits start to develop by age 7, and by Brown University in 2014, Brown found that money habits are pretty set. Their default habits of either spending or saving are set by age 9.
Interesting.
Okay? Yeah, for the rest of your life. So you know that urge you have to either spend or hoard,
Mm-hmm.
that's set by age 9 based on your experiences with money.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I did not know that. And it's got me thinking about my kids who are now 10 and 14, like, ooh, like it's set. Like we're gonna have to be working diligently to change it if it's not, benefiting or, I don't want to say benefiting them, but like if somebody is always a spender and they don't see the pitfalls of not saving, helping them to realize that early.
Yeah, so one big caveat I give in class is, yes, the default to spend and save is set by age 9, but there's this thing called neuroplasticity where you can change how your brain is wired. You can change your defaults. It takes a lot more work.
Yep.
But our parents have done a lot of crazy things to us, and so we're changing things all the time as soon as you recognize them.
That's true.
Yeah. And so, great. All right. It's set by age 9. You can reset it. It just takes a little bit more work. So if you're looking back at your life and saying, oh, what is my default and how did I get that default by age 9? What happened to me that gave me that default? Then you can examine that. You can figure it out. You kind of can look from the outside in and say, if I were parenting me at that age, what would I have done differently? And then you can relive those memories and you can relive it a little bit more and reset your brain by changing your habits. Does that make sense?
Yep. And very hopeful.
Yeah.
And actually, as you're saying it, I'm like, I'm doing that very thing. I'm on day 37 of the carnivore diet. So, and I have a horrible sweet tooth. So, for 37 days, I haven't touched a cookie or a cupcake or anything that has refined sugar in it. So, yes, it's hard work, but you can be reprogrammed.
That sounds expensive. Wait, can we divert for just a moment? What's the carnivore diet?
So, meat, beef, pork, chicken, eggs, strictly. It's supposed to be like absolutely no fruits, no vegetables, no carbohydrates whatsoever. And it's, so my wife and I started it, but we decided 2 weeks we were going to go hardcore carnivore. Then we were going to implement back in some basic vegetables. Like when I have a burger, I'd like to put onion and pickle on it. And I'm like, that's not my problem, right? The package of Oreos is my problem. So, the carnivore diet is just about getting off of all grains, rices. So I haven't had bread in 37 days. I haven't had rice in 37 days. Lentils, no lentils.
No lentils.
Yeah, I mean, but high protein, high, and I feel great. Like energy's up, focus is up. Those things are feeling a lot better. I don't really care about the number on the scale. I care more about how do my clothes fit and how do I feel, am I sluggish and that sort of thing. But I am down 11 pounds and just things are fitting better again and that sort of thing. So, but for me, the real surprise is, as much as I love bread, pasta, and sweets, the fact that I haven't touched any of those in 37 days proves that you can build new habits. You can reprogram yourself. It is not my intent to stay off of those things for forever, but I also know that I can't just go back to those things the way I once did. Otherwise, I will undo everything that I have done. And so when I go back, it's about being more disciplined and being wiser. And when I say go back, I mean, I'm Italian. I'm going to have pasta. It will happen. But what kind of pasta, getting away from high processed white flour pasta for something that might be more like whole grain, that sort of thing, just.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny that I'd love to hear more eventually about how that is going. I know it's been 37 days, so it's over a month.
Yep.
I'm about to start something called what I'm calling the happiness diet, and I'm just coining the term. I'm just doing it.
It's not a thing out there. It's now new.
Yes, it is. Well, what it is it's a personalized thing, and so I'm creating my happiness diet journal. and I'm putting in what symptoms I'm tracking. And for me, it's inflammation and weight and energy levels, right?
Mm.
And hair loss. I'm losing my hair less these days than I used to be, but and so I'm going through and recording all that, like hours slept and, and things like that, just to
Mm.
figure out like supplements taken, what I'm eating, how much I'm exercising, all those different things
Yep.
to figure out what is my happiness diet.
Mm.
Just to get my inflammation markers down and like all those different things.
Yep.
So, because I have a weirdo body, but we're not going to get into that. So I like tracking things. I love tracking things. So
it's kind of the nerd in us as financial coaches. The same, right? And like I said, the number on the scale is not what I'm measuring most. What I am most concerned about when it comes to like body composition, that sort of thing, is my body fat percentage. So if I'm 185, but I'm 25% body fat, that's different to me than being 185 and being at 15% body fat. Like that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And it does make a big difference in how you feel in your body and all that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we should get back to kids.
Hey there, budgeteers. Are you tired of feeling like your finances are running the show? Well, it's time to flip the script and take charge of your money with New Money Habits Financial Coaching. This isn't your typical financial advice. New Money Habits is about empowering you with the knowledge and tools you need to make savvy money moves and build a solid financial foundation. Here's the deal. We're offering a free discovery session to kickstart your journey to financial freedom. Yep, you heard me right. Free. In this session, one of our experienced coaches will help you to pinpoint your financial goals and create a better plan for your money. We're talking about mastering your money mindset, picking up practical money management skills, and having someone to hold you accountable along the way. So, if you're ready to kiss financial stress goodbye and say hello to a brighter financial future, then schedule your free session today to create the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. So, we were talking about stages. We're talking about how 3-year-olds can they can understand the concept of trading money for goods. A 5-year-old can understand the concept of saving. Where do we go on from there?
Yeah. So now it comes down to teaching your kids. And kids are really hands-on. They're experiential. We just talked about habits and how kids need to form these habits by doing things, right? Just like regular people, we think that kids can go to school and learn all this theory, but they're not learning theory. And if you're a teacher, you know that they're learning it hands-on. It's the only way kids really learn. So I like to teach about ages and projects and different very practical hands-on ways to teach your kids about money. They can develop better money habits at any age. So even if you're starting and your kids are 14 or 15 or however old, they can develop these better money habits. So I like thinking about these kids and creating fun projects based on their psychological milestones and their numerical milestones. I break it out into a few different age groups, like age 3 through 5, those very, very young ages, where it's like, just play money, have a pretend store, follow their lead. They're playing and you're playing with them, right? You can do a star chart for chores. And if you start that young, they will learn the concept of being rewarded for working. So that also that basic concept of trading work for money or work for reward. My kids loved absolutely when they were that age, the star chart for chores. And of course they were all age appropriate, right? So, pick up your room for 10 minutes or what have you, or 5 minutes, or, clear the table. Like a 5-year-old can clear the table. That's fine.
Yep.
And with a little help. But we had the star chart, and I had on there a couple different things. The reward was glow in the dark stars for the ceiling of each of their bedrooms.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And at the time, they were sharing a bedroom. So what I put on the star chart was a 10% discount if they bought something together using both of their stars.
The sibling discount.
Exactly. The sibling discount. And because they were sharing a room, of course, they wanted the big moon first, which was the most stars from their star chart. So they were trading in the stars they got from their star chart for stars on their ceiling. And I kind of like that connection to help them remember, like wasn't quite a 1-to-1. And then they were like, oh, what else can I do? Oh, can I weed the front yard? Can I do all these different things? My daughter was getting a little older. She's 3 years older than my son. So she was trying to earn more stars. And then he was trying to earn more stars in order to get the thing that they wanted. And it was really good. It was great for teaching them how to save from a young age.
That's awesome. I remember we've always tried to implement different chores or whatever, and our kids are like incredibly, insanely busy in a bunch of different things that sometimes we're like, the fact that you don't give us issues about going to school, they both love school, so that like they're never like, I don't want to go, right? You go to school, you're great students, you get good grades, then you do all of your extracurricular activities again without trying to get out of them and that sort of thing. So, but anyway, that wasn't the point. The point was, I remember we got the Melissa and Doug money set that looks like real bills and real coins, because I always wanted to do something where it was like, you do these things, do these chores, and you earn this quote money. And then to your point, like you were doing with the stars, like then you can trade in that play money for items. We never quite got there, but I just whether it's stars, whether it's play money, I love the concept of you get rewarded for the things that you do. So you build that work ethic, and then you trade those rewards for things that you want. And now you're teaching little ones how the economy works.
Yeah, exactly. Now my kids are a little bit older, and they're 6 and 9, and they have a basic allowance, right? And I say basic not because it's not like a universal income thing, universal basic income. They have to earn it, and they get double payments if they do it without complaining. Yeah, and without being reminded. So
right, that's the big one.
Yeah. So I like to reward what I want to see. I learned this as a manager too. You reward what you want to see more of. So my son, my 6-year-old, clears the table, wipes it down. He'll do just basic chores like that. I'm trying to get like a little sweeper, which apparently is the same amount of money as a broom. But anyway, so that he can just sweep the floor regularly, right? Because he's a small kid. He's not that large. My 9-year-old does the dishes and unloads the dishes, which is so great, by the way. Nobody wipes down the counters. That ends up being my job, and all the cooking's my job too. And the pots and pans are my husband's job. So,
all right, yeah. Everybody's chipping in.
Everybody has a job, yeah. And so they get rewarded if they do their job without complaining and without being reminded. They get that double, right? So they're really excited about the allowance now because their favorite store is Target. I didn't do that. They got all these Target gift cards for their birthday, and now they just love going to Target, and it's become this like weird thing. like, all right, fine. Actually, my daughter really likes Michael's because of all the crafts. Yeah, my son's getting into it too. So they're seeing all of that. They're seeing their efforts be rewarded, and they're building those habits of saving up for what they want. My son really wants this balloon, this like clown balloon kit where you can pump up the balloons and you can make little balloon animals. Yeah. he's way into that kind of fun stuff. And my daughter's like, give me paints. I want paints. I'm like, you have to buy them. So yeah, so she's super into that kind of thing. But anyway, so that's what we're doing at this moment.
Yeah.
Seems to be working.
That's all the time we have for this episode with our guest, Catherine Vander Laan.
That does it for this episode of the New Money Habits Podcast. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure to hit us up on social at New Money Habits and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review to help us spread this message of hope to people looking for a better plan for their money.